everybody, it's me, Man Alone, the protagonist of this solo RPG YouTube channel. Welcome. Today we are going to be doing just a little bit of a first look at the new Dragonbane campaign, Path of Glory. It's actually 4 campaigns in one. We'll get to that. And on the front cover is this is a big honor. This is me and Mr. 55, my podcast co-host, and he's still recovering from his surgery there. And so we're going to go through this. Now, this is not a solo supplement. However, as is I hopefully well established on this channel, we're big fans of Dragonbane here. And so any Dragonbane content that we could add to our cerebral cortexicon is going to be much appreciated. I think there's some cool stuff in here that could be used in solo campaigns as well. It is a campaign, right? So I don't want to spoil everything, so we won't linger too much, especially if you're going to be in a group that's playing this. I don't want to spoil anything, or even if you want to save some surprises for your own solo play, but just kind of take a gander around. Now, if you are looking for a solo-specific supplement for Dragonbane, Called to the Green, which is the solo supplement that I've been teasing for a bit too long now, is just about finished, and I can't wait for you all to be able to get your mitts on this, because this is shaping up to be fantastic. It's almost 50 pages now. And working on it with John's World art and Druidic Habit. There's going to be a full color cover page here, like a painting level. It's gorgeous. I can't wait for you to see it, by John's World. Druidic Habit is helping with layout and some diagrams and editing and doing some writing as well. And so we got a real banger on our hands here, folks. I can't wait for you to see it. And I have just a few pages to show you what it's going to look like here. It takes place in a little tiny triangle, the Misty Vale map, where there is a settlement of frogkin. And there's a whole lore to it, and it even has its own map that you could tell I made this and not John's World's, because when you look at John's World stuff, this is like, you'll think a dog painted this with their snout. But nevertheless, it's like this tiny little addition to the Misty Vale map up here, the green. There's specific solo-related mechanics, a little bit of modifications to character creation and heroic abilities. There's instructions to have companions and a whole thing to see how coherent your companion is in terms of, like, do they like what you're doing? Do they want to do it? Are they excited about it? Are they in agreement with you? You could do collaborative skill checks with them. We added creating companions, some instructions for that, and a little bit like a character sheet for them as an NPC, so it's not as developed. You could have multiple companions. And then, of course, the big bad is actually 3 big bads in this, 3 different trolls called the Awakened that are attacking this little area called the Green with these sweet little frogkin called the Whisper Hands. And the Whisper Hands are very quiet, and they have a sign language. And so the threat counter for this game is going to be different. Instead of mission threats, the threat system is going to have different threats depending on if you're in overland travel or in dungeons or in towns called stilts in this game. Well, at least in the green. And so when you fail a skill check, or you roll a demon, or you take a stretch rest, you'll advance the threat clock. And as you advance that, every time it has to be reset, goes down from 4 to 1, it will advance one of the trolls, and the trolls will travel. They'll maybe go to invade one of these little villages, these stilts in the green, or they'll go terrorize something. Each of them have their own HP and movement, and and their HP and movement and strength grows the more that the threats are rolled. There's different instructions for movements between the different villages, and then there's a whole troll attack table that you will have to sort of track, because if you're not there to save them, the stilts can get buildings knocked down, they can get citizens taken, etc. And so, yeah, it's got like maybe a little bit of a stronghold mechanic, but this is only 18 pages what I have here. Okay, so the whole thing right now I think is at 47 pages. Yeah, there's stuff for intercepting the trolls to see if the trolls morale. But this is the part. This is just a 3-page selection I took from the actual adventure section of it, and I don't want to show it too much, but I want you to see that every heading here is a location within, say, a town or a dungeon or whatever. And so, yeah, so this is a place called Nibbit's Plank, which is somewhere created just for this adventure where you kind of have to gain access to the green. There's some frogkin here that are on lookout. Look at John's World's art is unbelievable. And there's different options in terms of things that you can do. There's instructions like for sparring. So that's if you're like fighting someone who's potentially friendly and you don't want to kill them. There's a sparring mechanic. There's different ways to... There's so many fun mini games in this, and beyond that, it's got still has open world exploration instructions as well. And so if you're looking for something more structured, then Into Deepfall Breach, which a great solo supplement for Dragonbane, but this is something that seeks to add a little bit to that story. That is, we're looking at a Halloween release for that. But what I want to say is, if you're a fan of the Man Alone Networks, you probably know that there is a podcast for $4 a month that you can sign up for and subscribe to that, which is a weekly podcast as well as audio only uploads of all my YouTube videos. Like this one will have the audio uploaded, so if you want to just listen to it, I know some people listen to these instead of watching them, as well as a podcast with Man Alone and guests every week. Or if you want to become a YouTube member, of which now I have 20 YouTube members and 70 podcast subscribers. I can't believe it. And the YouTube membership is just for a badge that will change color the longer you follow, and access to my special set of extremely beautiful specialized emojis, such as a waffle, a seal, Gene Hackman, and the International Solo Players icons. All the standard emojis, but you know. And so what I want to say about that is, if you are either a YouTube member or a podcast subscriber on October 1st, you will get a playtest PDF of Called to the Green. And if you are able to complete it in a 2-week turnaround by sorry, I don't know if I said August, by October 1st, anyone who has a YouTube membership or is a podcast subscriber and who completes the sort of feedback sheet for this, we will provide a discount, 25% for anyone who is a YouTube member, and an additional 50% for anybody who is a subscriber to the podcast and a page member. I don't know if the math there made sense, but I'll put it all in writing when we're ready to do that. But it'll be whoever is logged on that by October 1st. So if you'd like to get an advanced copy of this, if you'd like to do a playtest, and you don't have to do the review, if you just want to like get the playtest in advance, I'll send it to everybody who's on that list. But the discounts will be for those who provide feedback for this. And that will probably be by October 15th. That'll be due so that we could do a quick turnaround and make any changes or anything that we need to for a spooky Halloween release. But yeah, I think this is a lot of work went into this. And so as much as I love to charge $1 or $2 for my stuff on drive-thru, I actually think that this one might be probably closer to $10. Still probably a steal given how much art and everything was put into this. But for those who do that stuff, they'll get a 25 to 50% discount. All right, that's enough out of me about that. I got my accountant over here yelling at me. What are you doing? You can't give a discount. These money guys, I don't listen to them. Plus, my accountant's a beagle. Who'd listen to a beagle? Okay, so Path of Glory interestingly introduces um, two new areas of the map, which is really cool. And by the way, in the back of this, I'm stupid. I should have saved this for when I did this review video, but I already put it up on my wall because the Dragonbane maps are so beautiful. We have like this whole new area here, the Eastern Lands. And there's also a Sea of Dreams, and there's a forest land as well. And so that came as a sort of like separate map that was included inside, which is a nice big map. It's like the map of this playing area here. I'm so stupid. Why did I put it up and not just wait? I can't be helped. Anyways, so what's interesting is, like I said, this is divided up, into 3 adventures, the Dead Forest, the Gates of Power, and the Heart of Darkness. And the original game that was, what was it? Drakon ak Demoner. I don't know how to say it in Swedish, but I hope that's right. There was the original Path of Glory was released some time ago in Swedish. I mean, this is both a port of that as well as an update of that with some like additional adventures tacked onto it. But Roger Undhagen, who wrote the original Path of Glory, does the forward in this, which I think is really cool. Just talking about how he still GMs the game and he's excited about the new stuff that's added. And yes, this book is for the Game Master's eyes only. If you intend to enjoy these adventures as a player, stop reading now. Otherwise, you will ruin the suspense for yourself and the rest of the gaming group. So I'm not going to go too into depth with this. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of breeze through it. But yes, if you're looking to keep this as a surprise, I wouldn't even tempt myself. But right off the bat, the Misty Vale. Path of Glory is set in the same world as the Secret of the Dragon Emperor campaign in the Dragonbane core game. The Misty Vale described there is a few days or weeks walk from the Dead Forest. The exact distance is irrelevant to the campaign and up to you, the GM. The 2 campaigns share some of the same background, but are completely independent of each other. And then this also mentions here that Path of Glory is a challenging campaign and not suitable for freshly created player characters. We recommend characters embarking on this have at least 10 to 15 sessions under their belt, at least 3 heroic abilities, and skill level 16 or higher in their best skills, and you should have 1 or more magical weapons. And they recommend that if you are not set there, then you should level up your player characters to that. So this is really, if you are a GM of Dragonbane, this is something that you're going to use as an extension of a campaign that you're already working on. And there are these 3 adventures, the Dead Forest, Gates of Power, and Heart of Darkness, and they extend one into another. Now, this right here, I'm not going to read this, but this is pretty cool right here. There are 3 powers that are sort of fighting each other. I really need to say right now, actually, as I'm doing this, I'm starting to feel socially irresponsible by this. Even some of this stuff that we see here gives answers to some of the suspense that you might get from the if you have not played through the first adventure of Dragonbane yet. And so if you haven't done that and you're a person that doesn't like having spoilers, please turn away. Go call your mother, okay? Because I know I just called your mother. Oh, I'm kidding. And maybe not everyone has. I'm sorry. Okay, so so yeah, the first is going to be Gates of Power. I love these tables right here. And I'm blocking that off because there's some like riddles involved there. The Hungry Hobgoblin Inn. And here we begin just the fantastic art of Dragonbane that I just adore so much. It is both sort of amateur and professionally gorgeous. I don't know how to say that, but it's like there's a certain briskness to it, that it kind of looks in one way like a sketch. When you first look at it, you're like, oh, this is just a sketch that's been colored in. And then you look at it and you're like, gosh, there's so much beautiful stuff in these pictures. We have some rumors at the end, layouts for everything. NPCs, of course, are all going to have, here's the other part of the map. NPCs are also going to have all their stats in this game, because it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to fight them. It just means that they could potentially be enemies or allies or whatever, because in Dragonbane there are regular enemies are called NPCs, and big baddies that have an aggression stat, meaning how many like initiatives they take, they are called monsters. And so all the NPCs are treated the same. There's some of the new kin that we saw in the bestiary, minotaurs, frogkin. They're going to get more of a front seat here and start being built out a little bit more, like Grim and Grum, me and my dad. And there's some random event tables as well. Here's some goblins, obviously, because goblins are nice now. They're probably just going to the convenience store. So, what I'm looking for as a solo player, and I would actually like to run this for my group once we're, if the group wants to switch off of Coriolis at any point, but is I'm looking at things, I'm looking at NPCs, I'm looking at layouts and diagrams of locations. I'm looking at riddles. And I just really do think this is a very clean layout here of campaign adventures here. I like how Dragonbane does this. I like how it does have this sort of classic dungeon crawl feel, but there is more freedom to it, where you feel like there is, in one sense, that you're almost like a first person going through like a 3-dimensional, like the Doom main character, but at the same time, there's obviously more freedom than that, but it has enough guidance to keep things structured. And I just feel like when I GM Dragonbane, that it's just so easy to GM, and I don't feel that way with D&D. I don't feel that way, and I don't know about the new edition D&D Ultra, but yeah. So and also something that's really awesome about Dragonbane is like there's like little treats and sweets along the way. Not everything is set up just like location 1, here's the monsters, location 2, here's the NPC, location 3. Like there's little things where you can do some different stuff, that you can have some different experiences than you normally have, differences between daytime and nighttime. And wow, look at this, beautiful. The maps, I just love these maps. Obviously, this is the start of the second one. Now, what's interesting is, oh boy, getting into some definite spoilers here. In terms of the Gates of Power, that is more of a dungeon crawl proper, okay? And along the way, the GM has this timesheet where you can like sort of like check off as you're randomly generating things, which I think as a GM would be so fun, but as a solo player, I think that would be so fun as well to have this sort of clock, this upward running clock, so that you can determine. I mean, this is like the nuts and bolts of what creating a solo hex crawl or dungeon delve would be. And then there's this option here, which is really interesting, where because this adventure takes place like deep underground, you're not always going to be able to find a place to do shift rest, and so it gives instructions for barricading. So that you can, get rests every once in a while, even without perfect circumstances. And I'm not sure if that's going to give a full rest or not. So much of the same here. Beautiful maps, all numbered, all so well laid out. Yeah. And again, I think this is end game here. I don't really want to mess anything up, but again, this is like I can't describe the drawings of this, because on one hand, you look at any one part of this map and you're like, oh, this was a 4th grader's interpretation of a farm field. And then you zoom out and it's like, oh, it is luxurious to look at. It's so beautiful. Look at all this, unreal. And I just love it. It gives that like, that feeling, It gives that feeling where everything is your eye wants to follow Dragonbane maps. I look at maps in some games sometimes and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. There's no texture here. There's no heart here. I don't care what's on this map. I'm using it as a guide for travel. But here it's like, this is something, I mean, I put it up on my damn wall. Instructions for journeys and random events along the way. For every location, you're going to get some information. There's instructions for eavesdropping. And then we have something that a lot of people have been waiting for, is a school of demonology. And a little bit of an Easter egg. Goldtrub is versed in the school of demonology. This is Goldtrub. I don't even know who that is. Which is described in the upcoming book, Magic for Dragonbane. So that's our next book that we're going to get, is Magic for Dragonbane. His spells are detailed on the following pages. The Book of Magic will contain a much larger selection of demonology spells. So far it has Beetle Swarm, Gutworm, Summon Demon, and Demonic Displacement, which are all things that, having had like a family with 6 boys in it, these are all ways that the bathroom has been described after we use it. The Beetle Swarm, Gutworm, Summon Demon, and Demonic Displacement is when, it's like you got to open a window or something. Yeah, we definitely don't want to go over a page that says the end. My faves, my little frogkins. I love their names, Otis and Volley. They have some new pictures. I was getting a little worried because they were starting to recycle a lot of pictures, and I think they did that in this one too a little bit. Like, for instance, how many times can we see this? I mean, it is one of the most awesome pictures ever, so maybe the answer is as many times as it takes. But I'm happy to see that they have expanded the illustrations and have gotten, have created some new characters. Not everything is drawn from the bestiary, and some new locations, and there's tons of new art in here. It's not even worth like breaking down which ones are new and which ones are old. Let me read this. I can't read it. Oh, I can't do it. That's like the final scene, but let me just say that is very cool. Look at me hiding it from the camera. Like I couldn't have just pressed pause. Yeah, so, and then it ends with, again, this map, and oh, the hell with it. I'm just going to grab the map off the wall. Yeah, all right. So this is pretty cool. So they have like, this character's name is Dob Billin. This is Wendy Warhol. You have this chance to stop in Kansas Kitty, which I think that's Kansas Kitty, and they have sizzling beef there that you have to fight. There is... okay, I'm kidding. Very nice book here. It's a gift from BB. We're going to take a little vacay. This is the actual map. So on one side, we have the Eastern Lands. And it looks like the centerpieces here. Well, there's the Sea of Dreams, which I'm happy to see. Look at these. I just love this. This is the distance guide. I mean, could you blame me for putting this up on my wall? Can you? Can you really? I don't think you can. I just don't think you can. And then on the other side, we have the Dead Forest, which is what I wasn't able to show you earlier. And in the middle is the Dead Forest. And as I mentioned on the pod last night, you're really asking for trouble when you call something the Dead Forest. You should probably call it something like the Flower Forest, and then maybe, all these like malevolent spirits won't. So this is Deepmire. Now this is something that's interesting. I'm wondering like what a good place for like to center some solo stuff would be. You know what it is about these maps? There's something about how I used to draw maps when I was a kid during school. Like, just being like, yeah, right here, a wizard fights tentacles or something. And I just like draw a little wizard. There is that sort of flippancy about it that I really love. That's just like, yeah, we're just gonna put this dude walking through the forest right here. Just like some troll. I just think it's so fun and it's so pretty. I mean, I'm not the best at seeing colors, but there is like a gorgeous diversity of colors I could see in this. And so, yeah, this comes included in it, comes right in the back. I did kickstart this, so I'm not sure what the deal is in terms of you could, yeah, Drakkar Ok Demonar. and it came in 3 installments during 1985 and 1986. The Dead Forest, Gates of Power, and Heart of Darkness. This collects the trilogy in a single volume, but apparently there's something that is added. Seeing the adventure, this is Roger Undhagen saying, seeing the adventure trilogy Path of Glory that I started more than 4 decades ago, ! With the Dead Forest and Gates of Power, now in its final form as a trilogy with the completion of Heart of Darkness. So Heart of Darkness, I guess, was the addition to it. This is great. Because we get glory and Path of Glory have no end. Ooh. If you want to be on the Path of Glory, make sure that you sign up for the Man Alone Members Only podcast. We have a lot of fun on there. Woo, goodness, did we have such a hilarious pod last night. It was objectively dumb, but when you're having that much fun, you just can't stop yourself. So please check that out. And also, I'm wondering what people think, if there's any desire to see a video going over tarot. I've done tarot longer than I have played solo games, and I'm curious if anyone is interested in using it with like the Rider-Waite standard tarot deck, using it as a solo generator, because there is a lot of symbolism on there that is, if you start to know what each of the symbols mean, you can use that to produce a wide variety of generative, descriptive outcomes. But if you're not interested in that, just scream wherever you are, because it seems like you're not interested in anything. And lately, all of us have been sort of concerned about you. 26 minutes. This is not a very good video, but I think that's the end of it. So I hope you had fun, and we'll see you again soon. I should make fun of people that watch the channel. I shouldn't say that. It's just a joke. I mean, I hope they took it as a joke. It was. It's like I want to believe that everyone has a good sense of humor.